Jay, what do you guys, how do you balance in an exhibition game what you want to, your approach in working on that versus not showing future opponents too much?
Some of the principles that we are trying to enforce, we just kind of stick to those. Like one of the things we've talked about all year so far is just playing fast, playing with speed. So trying to do that, seeing how quick we can get the ball up the court, trying to see how many times we can get in the paint, in the post. So things like that, that's just a everyday occurrence, not necessarily plays or anything of that factor. And then defensively, some of the stuff we thought we didn't do well in the first exhibition, to try to see that we worked on and that they carried it over to this one coming up on Friday. So we'll just try to kind of see concepts and things like that, just the carryover.
Why is the speed and tempo and pace, why is that an important thing?
We think we have the team that can play that way. Especially having a small guard with Sabir, you kind of have to play that way. And then we have other pieces that kind of fit it with Ty. And then if you play fast, it kind of opens up the shooting for CJ and Kellen and Dante and things like that. And having big athletic wings with Jacob, who'll be back, Dameon and Keon, it kind of fits. You know what I mean? We're built for speed, so we think that's one of our advantages we want to play to it.
How do you think Miles College, their defense, I think, is predicated on preventing these things.
Yeah.
What kind of a challenge do you think they present?
Pretty good challenge. They're not bad. They're a pretty good team. We watched some of the games. They won a lot of games last year. They have a bunch of people. They like to play fast too, so it'll be entertaining. And like you said, they have really good defense, how they play, and their things they try to take away from you is kind of what we want to do. So it'll be good to see how we can adjust on the fly and kind of open up the court and kind of do what we need to do. And I think a lot of that will be predicated defensively. Can you stop them, turn them over, get a rebound, and get out and run? So that'd be a big thing just to see how we can do that.
So you've known Sabir for a long time, I think since he was maybe in middle school or your dad's camps. How have you seen him grow over the years? Did you see this kind of potential in him from a young age?
Yeah, he's always been one of those kids that when you go to a game, you're going to lock in on him because he's going to do things, And one thing about him is he's always been small, so he knows how to play small. This isn't something that's new for him, you know what I mean? So he knows what comes with that, and he plays to that. And I think the one thing about him is, and the good thing about the portal is sometimes guys like him need those years somewhere else, and need those years to kind of get under their belt of playing through mistakes and things like that. If it's at a smaller level, or it can be on the other hand too, but I think that benefited him as well, being able to go through those lumps and get those things. And now, he's on a bigger stage, on a bigger platform, so seeing how that carries over now, because they have to change some of the stuff he did at Georgia to kind of fit in here, and he's done a good job doing that so far.
When you talk about the portal like that, is that something you all have in your minds now, recruiting high school kids? Like, maybe he's not ready for Kentucky now, but let's keep an eye on him because 2 or 3 years down the road.
No, that's just in general, I guess, statement of how you can look at it. You can look at it a bunch of different ways. Like you'll see some schools might not recruit high school kids anymore and just go straight portal. But when somebody puts their name in and you kind of watch the film and kind of see what they're doing, and you can see how they develop. Me with my relationship with him, knowing him for a long time, and watching him at Georgia and seeing how he developed in those 2 years was kind of my statement for that. But you could look at it that way too, especially at low major, mid major schools when people put their name in the portal, so you can kind of see from there.
You say he knows how to play small. How does a person play small?
Well, first rule of being small is you have to be the toughest person on the court. So he's done that. You have to play to your advantage, which is the speed. When you're small, you can't play slow. So playing to the speed. And the one thing we really challenge him this year is he's got to be a pest defensively. He can't be a guy who doesn't want to get in foul trouble, who's just trying to play minutes and stuff like that. So he's one who's going to have to pick up full court the whole game, be disruptive, be in passing lanes, and kind of do that. So that's his biggest challenge this year that we're giving to him.
Do you think he has the cliche small man syndrome where, oh yeah, I'm the biggest guy?
Yeah, he does. He's a confident kid, as he should be. and he does have that. And you know, I've seen his ability to guard, so I know he's capable of doing it. It's just pulling him out of that. And another thing we think he can do is lead the country in assists. So we're challenging him to do that as well. I think he was like top 6 or 7 last year. So if we can get his assists up and get turnovers down, we think we'll put him in a good place.
When you have a guy who's at that high, obviously not as tall, do you work on a quicker release in terms of shooting, or is that something that you just kind of let them work out?
Well, it's kind of, you work on both. I think the one thing with him is just how he's been guarded in college and how people have guarded him. It's just getting him to realize, you know, where his shots will come from and how to get those shots. And the one thing with a guy like him, he's so fast. So getting him to understand how to shoot at that speed and not slow down and lose momentum. So getting him to understand how to maintain that speed to get to his shots, get to his pull-ups, get to his threes. And I think that's the one thing that he has to do to become a better shooter is understand, you know, you're moving at a speed normal people aren't moving at. So you got to understand how to harness it.
How old was he when you first saw him?
Oh man, he was probably 11.
Really?
Yeah, you know, I've known him forever.
Why? Were you looking at him like as a prospect?
No, I was just in the gym. My dad has a gym. He works, you know, anybody who wants to work out, come and work out. His dad brought him to the gym and stuff, so he's kind of grown up in the gym with us. So he's just somebody I've known. Just being in Houston, I've known him since all I can remember. His dad ran the AAU program, so I've known his dad for a while too. And, so it's someone I've had a real relationship with for a long time.
Did he make any immediate impression on you, or was he just another kid at that point?
At that point, I was still playing, so it was not, anything of that nature. But as I started to coach, at Texas and recruit, I would go watch him. He played on a really good team with other really good recruits, and I knew him, of course. So he's someone I've always kind of kept my eye on. And, when talking to them, I recruited him at Texas. I told him and his family I didn't think it was the best fit for him at that time because we had a guard that was playing big minutes that started and stuff. So I told him, probably want to look, somewhere else and do all that. And they've always, from that conversation and just that relationship, we've always had a respect. So it's just kind of carried over. And, just the way the ball bounced and the cookie crumbled, he ended up here in Kentucky. We needed a point guard with the portal and stuff that happened over the spring, and it just happened to work out.
How important is that in recruiting, to be honest with guys, even when it's maybe not what they want to hear? Not just to tell them as a high school kid, you can come here and we'll play you, knowing that might not.
Oh, that's the biggest thing. And that's the one thing, really that Coach Cal has really preached. And the one thing I really learned the truth of it in coming here. Because this is a place where you do recruit a lot of people and a lot of people that have big dreams. So getting them to understand, you're going to have to share. You're going to have to sacrifice. If you're looking to come here and shoot 40 balls a game, this might not be the place for you. And a big part of it is you want to lay everything up front. So when they get here, there's no questions or nothing that they can say you lied to me or you told me I was going to do this, do that. Might as well be honest with them on the front end.
Is that even more important in the age of the portal? Because you might recruit those guys 2 or 3 years down the road too.
Yeah, it is, and it's just in general being a good person type thing, being a honest person, and that's one thing that in the recruiting process that Coach Cal really taught me is that we don't have to promise anything. Just be upfront, be honest with them, lay everything out. Tell them who else you're recruiting, tell them what else you're doing. So that's one thing that's really struck to me being here is just how important that is, especially when they come here and when you recruited them, that what you told them is what they're going to get.
There's an emphasis on speed this year. Of course, you talked about severe speed. Do you ever have to tell them to slow down? Is there such thing as playing too fast?
Oh yeah. And it comes with the time in the game, time and score. It may be a point where you're up 6 with 2 minutes to go and you may see a pass or see something that you are trying to get early in the game, but you don't need it right now. Maybe a time to kind of slow it down and grind it out. So just getting them to understand, more when, where, and why is a big part of it. But, on turnovers and misses, really is a time to run and go play. So it's just kind of, you know, in the game, if you want to get the last shot, it's kind of all predicated on where it is. But, you know, for 85% of the game, you know, I think we want to play fast.
Did you, I want to make sure I understood, you recruited Xavier for Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Did I hear you say that, but you had another guard, and so
Yeah.
you thought it would be better for him?
Yeah. We had another older guard who was playing big minutes. And then we had got a guard, you know, there just wasn't a fit for him, you know, for what he wanted and what he was trying to do. I didn't think it would have worked out best for him. So I kind of explained that to him and his dad. And I think he ended up committing to Texas A&M first. I think that's where he went first. Yeah. And then the coaching changed. That's how he ended up at Georgia.
Does that prior relationship make it tougher or easier to coach a guy like Xavier?
It makes it easier because the relationship is there. Of course, it's not just like you spent time with him 10 years ago. You know, you got the same relationship, so you still have to spend time with him. But, you know, it's an understanding of him knowing that I want the best for him. I'm not going to tell him anything that's going to hurt him. And that's with all of them. So just, you know, having a comfort level to kind of be able to say whatever, tell him whatever, and him knowing that you have his back and that what you're telling him is right. So I think that's a big part of it.
You said he has the small man syndrome. What do you see out there that sends that message to you that this guy thinks he's bigger than you are?
Just his confidence, the way he plays. You know, him trying to the plays he tries to make. You know, when you're small, you have to have a little bit of recklessness about you because you have to do things because of your size that it's kind of sometimes a 50-50 play because it's the only play you can really make because you're small. And he has the confidence knowing that he can make the plays. You know, he's shown the ability to do that, and so I think that's a big part of it when you're small.
I noticed in one of the games or it might have been blue white or whatever, that he got on a switch and he was boxing out Oscar, and he was making a full effort to box out Oscar.
But it's kind of, you just can't have any fear. It's just one of those things you have to do. If you want to stay on the court, if you want to play this game, being that small, you have to do the dirty things. And kind of like I said earlier, you got to be tough. You know, you can't be small and not tough. Just bad mix.
Okay, how did you all see Daveon respond in that first exhibition to not starting? It seemed like maybe that motivated him a little bit. He played really well.
Oh yeah, he's played a lot of basketball. You know, I think the biggest thing with him is, and with any of them, it's just not Daveon. It really doesn't matter. You know, start, not start. You know, what are you doing when you're in? How are you making the best out of your role, whatever it is? You know, he's played, like I said, in tons of games. He's one of the guys we have confidence in. That he'll do, you know, what we're asking him to do, the right thing, whether it's off the bench or if it's start. You know, I think for all of them, it's kind of the same. You know what I mean? So I think that's a big part of it is just him not pouting, him not taking it as, you know, something other than that and understanding, you know, this is what we're doing. And this is how we're doing this game. It may be something completely different on Friday. You know, it's just whatever coach wants to do. So everybody just has to be ready to kind of do their job.
How do you see Xavier and Ty sharing point guard responsibilities, and do you foresee one of them kind of taking the lead a little bit, maybe early on in the season?
I mean, we just see we're playing 2 point guards. That's kind of the one thing that whoever gets the ball is the point guard. And then, you know, if one of them is out of the game, you know, most times they'll be the primary guard, but we just see it as an advantage. You know, good college teams, most of them who have won championships here in the past couple of years have played more than 1 point guard at a time. So we don't see it as like you solely have to be the point guard and bring the ball up. We just see it as we're playing with 2 point guards, and it gives us an advantage. You got 2 guys who can create shots for others. You have Ty who has the ability to score, I would say a little bit better than Xavier does because of the size and a different skill set. So it just gives us options.
Do you feel your post depth is working at this point or developing? I mean, obviously, maybe it might need some time. How do you feel like the options down there?
We feel good about the options right now. We have a guy, Oscar, who's, you know, another transfer, who's played a lot of games, and he's kind of showed his ability to rebound, create space, able to finish around the rim at a high percentage. That's something he's always done, and I was familiar with him when I was at Texas and being at West Virginia playing against him. So I kind of knew what to expect. Lance is another guy who had a good summer, who's gotten better, and who started to do a little bit more, and you just see him getting comfortable. And then like you were saying with Daveon, He's kind of that blank slate right now. That's kind of just getting better and better week by week. So, you know, you just kind of put him in at multiple positions and he'll be able to do multiple things. So, you know, we have the ability to play a bunch of different ways, and I think continue as the season goes on and as we play more games and stuff like that, find out what's the best way for us to play.
My understanding is Davion's high school in Texas was
Mhm.
kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
How would you describe the jump he's got to make now, especially considering the EYBL all that last summer he
Yeah.
didn't play because of the
Yeah.
pandemic, so like he didn't get that
It's
experience.
literally, I'm trying to figure out the best way to put this. He's from a city of 4,000 people. He probably didn't play anybody over 6'5". So it'd be like moving from somewhere that didn't have internet or TV to New York City, in the middle of Times Square. That's the best way I could put it. And you know, the best thing about him is that he's a rare recruit in this time and age as someone who has not been already conditioned, not been trained a certain way, not told there's certain things. You know, he's never lifted weights till he got here. You know, it's one of those blank slates that's rare these times where you can kind of mold him to be what he needs to be instead of having to unwire him into something he's been told. So when you find people like that, it's kind of a good thing.
With Oscar, I think it seems like he just has no fear. How comforting is it to have a guy like that in every game, you know, he's gonna go back, but he's not afraid of the challenge?
The best thing about it is that it kind of goes to the other guys. It gets them to play tougher, gets them to play stronger when they see Oscar and they're battling, because he's going to be, you know, the same person every day. You know, that's the one thing he showed us. He's consistent. You know, what he gives you is what you're going to get almost daily. So everybody knows they have to kind of pick it up to that level, and that's the reason why we're talking like a guy like Lance has gotten better, because he's going against Oscar every day. So that's another thing, and a big part of what he does is he makes everyone around them, raise them to a different level.
We've heard so much about Bryce, and then he didn't have the greatest of shooting games. So what did you see from him this week? And you know, looking to bounce back.
He's in the gym. You know, he had been out for a little bit. Just he had a little thing, and then coming back, and then first game, you know, people respond different. Got a jersey on, referees, another team. You know, so he's a freshman. You know, something they're gonna have games like that. So I think he'll be fine because he has the right temperament and understands, you know, what he needs to do and just getting better and working. So you know, I think, you know, like Daveon, like Ty, like all of them, they're gonna have their lumps. You know, you just hope there aren't a lot of them, but it's gonna happen. You know, at one point. So you just gotta be able to get them to respond and continue to play and understand. You know, short memory. Next thing, what's next?
Is there a difference in how you have to coach a freshman star like Ty compared to a now 3-year veteran like Xavier?
That's a good question. I don't. Yes and no, because they are similar in the sense that they think they can make some plays that they just shouldn't make. So you're kind of getting them to understand that. And I think the thing with Ty that will be different from Xavier as we play games is just the grind of the season. You know, that's something that Xavier understands of Tuesday, Saturday, you know, multiple scouting reports, multiple game plans, carryover. You know, you get in December, you play 10 games, your body's worn out. You know, the things like that will be the thing I think that really jump out to Ty, and not more so the basketball aspect of it, because he has a good IQ, good feel and stuff like that. I think it'll be the grind of the season and just that difference that really get to him.
How do you think he's going to respond to that?
I think it'd be good. I think it'd be good because he does, like I spoke earlier, I think he has the right demeanor, right approach about it, but it is a big jump no matter where you come from. There's Atlanta, Texas, or, you know, Ty played big high school basketball, you know, with the guy going and stuff he did this past senior year. It's just a big jump when you get to college. And, you know, this place, you know, here is a big place. It's a big stage, and this is why they're here. But it's something you don't know and can't prepare for until you go through it.
Very good. All right, guys. I know you guys got the